much. Thank you very much. Now, I want you to make a, what will be your comment on the parenting style in terms of corporal punishment in our setting? What will be your comment as an expert, child and adolescent mental health expert? Would you agree that children need some level of correction in terms when they go wrong, or you are with the view that they should be left, nothing should be done? And what will be your comment?
Okay, very important, a very interesting question. So children definitely need a level of correction, supervision, monitoring, disciplining. I usually have a lecture I do on parenting types and how each of those types could affect the child for the positive or the negative. So just to highlight the four main types of parenting that have been propounded by psychologists, not me. So we have the authoritative, authoritarian, the neglectful parents, and the permissive parents. And so just as a brush up, the authoritarian is the one who does not give the child any space. It's like a very demanding parent, but the parent is not responsive. So does not give the child any emotional affection or respond to the child's needs, but it's always demanding from the child. And you have no say. If you do wrong, you'll be whipped and you can't complain. So that kind of parenting has an outcome for the child where the child can also come up or they grow up. As they grow up as adults, you also find some more adaptiveness in such a person because they are always, in quotes, somehow pushed down. And so as they become adult, they have low self-esteem, low self-confidence. They can't make decisions on their own, but they are very moralistic. They want to stick to the rule because they dare not. Okay, so it has its advantage and disadvantages. Authoritarian parent, so then we have authoritative. So the authoritative parents, let me talk about that one last because that is more like the balanced one. The neglectful parent is, I don't care about my child, whether they have eaten, whether they've not. That parent is not demanding and is not responsive. They just need the child alone. And definitely that's a very ill-mannered way of parenting. And it leads to very bad outcomes for such an individual as they grow up. They'll be mostly more adjusted, and because their training was just liberal, everything goes. You find them, they are the ones that can have conduct disorders, substance abuse problems. And I mean, definitely they grow up to not become well-formed adults and have proper relationships. Then we have the permissive parent. The permissive parent is very caring. So they are responsive, but they are not demanding. So what is demandingness? Demandingness means check the child when they have to, correct them, make them responsible for their actions, discipline them when you have to. So permissive is, I'm caring for your needs, I'm providing for you and all, but I'm not expecting anything from you. So you are free to do what you want. That is also not good, So you get wasteful characters because they get everything they want, but nobody discipline them. Definitely that is a no-no. Then we have the authoritative parent. So that is the parent that bridges the two, where they are demanding and at the same time they are responsive. So they are responsive to care for your needs, meet up with you. They don't only stand in the one-way authoritarian that I've said it and that is the end. They're responsive to the child, know the child's own take, and then discuss together to come to a compromise. And then they're also demanding. So they instill the necessary discipline, form the necessary boundaries. If the child goes wrong, that parent is sure to correct the child. So the balance must definitely be there. And in correction, that's when we talk about the types of child rearing or raising techniques. In correction, we in Africa, we are just that's one of our surest way, the corporal punishment. But the thing is that is not the only thing. We realize that a lot of parents in attempting to discipline their child with corporal punishment end up in child abuse. And that's another very important subject of mental health discourse for another day, because many children are being physically abused, not intentionally, but it's being done because the parent is exerting control over the child. by punishing them. And sometimes you, the parent, you could go overboard because the child is irritating you and you attempt to discipline them corporally. You can hurt and injure the child. See, with physical abuse, the child is beaten, whipped, lashed, or whatever in a way that physically puts them in danger. So don't beat your child out of a lot of so much hurt to injure them. And the thing with corporal punishment is that because it has become so in vogue, with time it's losing its power. Because then if you only use that and forget other evidence-based approaches to discipline your child, then the child comes to the point where, I mean, I've had enough. What is it? They have actually prepared their body and waiting for the cane, and it doesn't reform them. Okay, so corporal punishment is good. I think we need to categorize it and begin to designate it to our last resort or not our always go-to resort, so that it does not lose its significance or they don't get overused to it. Now, I mean, when you beat a child, what are the things that could happen in their minds? Okay, my mother is correcting me, I need to stop this. But with time, because a lot of parents too may not be also having the full training and go overboard, even for things that the child doesn't need a corporal punishment, you just inflict it on the child, and with time the child gets emotionally abused, and so they get all these emotional problems which are not voiced out. They are innate or they are suppressed within, and that makes them or that gives them mental health issues later. But there are a lot of good ways to discipline and also to instill good behaviors in your child. And that is what we train. And there is what we call the operant conditioning. The way you are able to punish, either by not punish alone, but the way you're able to instill a good character in a child is either by rewarding the child so that they know that this behavior is good. I get praised whenever I do this. I get a hand clap. My parent tells me I've done well. So praises are something we don't know how to do, especially as Africans. We need to learn to do it, because the more you praise someone, we think that the more you beat someone, the more they stop whatever they want to do. But there's a better yield when you praise someone or you reward someone or you acknowledge that they've done well. That works on their mind for them to do that good thing more and more, compared to when you beat. When you beat, it's just a fear that, hey, next time I shouldn't do this because I'll be beaten. So it doesn't have the same impact. Though yes, it has good impact in its way. But let's put all the possible methods together. Let's learn how to reward our children when they do well, praise them. Let's learn the use of negative punishments. Negative punishments are removing things that they like from them. So if the child has access to watch cartoons, play with a TV or tablet or whatever, and you want to punish them, you can deny them their privileges for a time. When you deny them their privileges for a time, you let them know it's because of that ill behavior. And so with time, over and over again, whenever they know when they do that activity that is not helpful, they are going to be denied what they like. Maybe everybody is going, the family is going on outing, but they are not going to be taken along. They are going to be left behind because of that behavior. With time, they will learn. Then that's negative punishment. So it's not just beating, always whipping, always. Whipping is good. Let's designate it to a time when we have instituted the others and then the others are not working, because it can also be emotionally abusive towards the child.
Thank you very much. That was an extensive expose on the parenting styles. We all need it. Most of us were brought up in the authoritarian way, the typical African way. So thank you very much for clarifying and letting us know the pros and the cons of the different parenting styles. Of course, definitely neglectful type is definitely not allowed. The permissive way and the authoritarian no. So we should all aim at the authoritative kind of parenting, which is a balanced one, where the parents are both responsive and